Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, we're working on our mid-engine 1967 Mustang Fastback that is being built on top of a fake Bugatti chassis from the movie Need for Speed. In today's episode, we are gonna build a custom fuel cell. We're gonna fully weld out our cage here. We're gonna put the body on for the final time. We're gonna weld the body to the cage, and we're gonna mount the front end. So front fenders, front hood, like to get those things on there in this episode. Got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it. Stay tuned. All right, so Oscar is gonna start by fully welding out the cage here. I'm gonna start by making a checklist, and then I'll assign kind of amounts of time each item on the checklist, and then we'll see how many of those things we get to do before we have to leave for LS Fest in 5 days. Oscar's got the cage all welded up. The exo cage is welded up. It looks phenomenal. I'm stoked on this. I just noticed these guys need a little bit of cleanup. We got to do a little bit of rust removal and kind of remove this area off that we cut. So I will work on that. I've been working on the cooling system. I built the first to-do list for this vehicle, all the stuff left that I want to do before LS Fest. And it's like 110 hours. And between the three of us, we have 150 hours of working time if we don't work through the night. If we start working through the night, man, the possibilities are endless. We got like 300 hours in us. I'm kidding. That won't happen on this one. That's not gonna happen. Anyways, what Oscar's gonna do, I'll show you, is start to get our electrical system back in its place. So the old fuse box and the stock ECU, all that stuff mounted right there. Everything's still there for it. It's just got to go back in. What we're going to be moving towards is two things. One is getting the body on, and the other is getting this car running again. Oscar wants to get the car running before we weld the body on, which is a very, very smart idea. Got the electrical remounted, ECUs mounted, OBD2 port. It's kind of cool. This car has an OBD2 port. The fuse box and the main power lug running up front. We're not sure if we're going to run the battery over into the front or if we're going to run a battery box, but we're going to have a firewall between the battery and the cabin where the driver is, or else we won't pass tech for anything at LS Fest, most likely. So I was thinking about what we need to do before we put the body on for the last time, and a big one is going to be to paint all of the new tubing that we put in. So our roll cage, all this front dash support and all this support and all that, anything that could get covered by a body panel, it needs a good coat of paint on it so it won't start rusting. When I had originally dreamed up this build, I expected at this stage right here we would send this car to the paint booth right now and paint all the cage stuff up, but I don't think that's what I would want to do anyways. I'm kind of changing my mind now that I'm building, because there's a lot of welding from the cage to the car. So if you put some nice, like super fancy glossy paint on there, it would just get all burned up. So I think it's gonna be better to paint it all afterwards, and kind of like in 2 stages, where I'll mask off and paint the cage, and then I'll make a hard line, and then I'll paint the interior of the body if it's not covered by fabrics and stuff like that. So it'll look good in the long run, but for now, we just gotta get it all protected, because this steel out in the elements and stuff will rust really fast, and then I'll be doing rust removal on everything. So we're gonna use Steel It. That's our #1 go-to thing. It is waterproof, so it's better than primer. It's not porous, it won't soak up water. It's weld through, and it's corrosion resistant. So it'll do all the jobs. It's pretty cool stuff. Thanks to Steel It for sending us a ton of it. Let's get to painting. tubing is sprayed up and black, looking fantastic. We finished routing the brake lines. All the brake lines are rerouted and pinned down to the side of the frame. So we're gonna move into two different things now. I'm gonna move into the cooling system, finishing out the cooling system and the modifications that need to be made because now the car is skinnier. We need to fit it back up to the car. So I'll be working with some aluminum tubing and getting that done. Oscar's gonna move into the fuel cell. The fuel cell is a custom one that we're building. So basically to start, you just build a big aluminum box that is definitely sealed up very, very well. There's gonna be fittings in different places for like a fuel filler neck. Then we got the feed and the return lines and other things like that. The fuel cell is going to run the whole width of the vehicle here. It's going to be about 4 inches deep and I think about 11 inches tall. It should tuck right in underneath this guy right here. So we're both got a lot of work to do. We're going to jump into it. She's got a couple fittings on, running the leak down test right now, making sure it's not going to leak. I am going to work on the front support. So these guys need to get replaced with something more heavy duty, a better bracket that's a lot more solid, wraps all the way around the 90-degree angle and comes out this way. So I'm going to work on building those brackets, getting that tube cut and welded on. Getting super close with this fuel cell, guys. So if you remember, our old fuel cell had a hole going through the middle of it. Ours is gonna they didn't have any thinner wall material down at Metal Supermarket. So anyways, this is gonna shoot through here, and that's where we run things like our shifter cables and the electrical cables that need to go from the engine harness up front. So it's like a sideways through hole through our fuel cell. Everything else on this fuel cell is done. All the fittings are welded on, the fuel filler neck is welded on, that's all good. In the front here, it doesn't look like it's done, but it's basically done. The lower supports need to get tacked on, but that's a two-person job and we haven't had enough people around. Once those get they're gonna get fully welded on, and then we bolt everything back up, and now we have new beefier plates that have 4 bolts in them instead of 1, and they won't budge. Also, then I can connect the lower to the upper and it'll make everything nice and strong. I've moved on to the firewall. Firewalls are gonna be a really big thing in this project. It's very important that your driver cabin is separated from 2 things, the fuel cell and then the whole engine compartment. Well, 3 things actually, and your battery cannot be within your driver's compartment. So we're using a battery box for the battery, firewalls for the engine, and fuel cell. So I'm working on our first firewall, which is going to be the rear kind of main firewall that's connecting up to our thing here. So it's going to be a lot of just trimming, cardboard aided design, and then I'll cut it out of steel. Look at that, guys. We've got a fuel cell. Oscar finished up the fuel cell, welded tabs onto it, and mounted it into the vehicle. It's pretty trick looking. So that holds 10 whole gallons, which is awesome. We've got our feed to our surge tank that goes down right there. And then when we come on the other side, we have our vent line, our fuel fill line, our return line is over there, up high. Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. Gives us more room for the seat. We still need to build a firewall now in between this and the cabin. Always have to have firewalls in between your fuel cell. But this is sweet. It was a good solution. So our seat's going to go basically right in front of that. We've got all the angle that we need to be able to lean back and everything. Looking pretty good. You're also going to notice that we've got these little tabs on our harness bar. These are where our harness bolt in. They're very hot right now, so I can't touch them. And then you probably saw me building out the firewall. We have the firewall all done. I'm just about to go clean it and paint it. That's kind of like our little painting corner over there. I'm going to paint it the same color as the cage with the steel at black, and then that will get welded in on top of this rail right here, closing that whole section out. Then all we have to do is connect this to the body of the car out here, and that finalizes the firewall. That will be a very, very challenging bit, but that's what we do. I have a feeling that this episode is getting very long. I'm not 100% sure, but I just have that feeling. So I'm gonna do a little bit less talking. We've been working for a lot of days on this one. I'm gonna do a little less talking, and we're gonna get a little bit more stuff done. Oscar, now that the fuel cell is in there, Oscar's gonna go ahead and put our fuel system back in place, back together. I'm gonna get that firewall finished. Oscar's got the fuel system buttoned up, firewall is being painted. It's time to test fire this car. We haven't started it up since we disassembled it and cut it in half 5 different times. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the power on, and then we're gonna fill our new fuel cell with some premium gasoline, and we'll try and fire it up, see how it does. Oscar's gonna do the honors. We had a small issue when we attached the battery. The starter started going, and if you did that, it normally means that somehow you're sending power to the starter signal wire. On ours, the back of the starter, the signal wire, and then the actual power lug got connected. We've reconfigured that so that won't happen again, hopefully. And Oscar's gonna go ahead and prime the system. Seems primed. Oh yeah, brand new fuel system. Probably prime it a couple times. It doesn't want to prime anymore.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful.
How long do you want to run it?
Yeah, we don't need to run it long. I think that's good.
Awesome.
Sounds so good, man. Very nice and smooth. Cool. I bet it has a fuel pressure sensor going to the stock ECU, so it probably primes until it reads the fuel pressure at once, and then it won't reprime. That's awesome. It's back and running with its new changed dimensions. That means we can start to slap the body on there. Let's get the side panels, a roof panel. Let's get those things going. Coolant lines are ran through the side panels. Body is on. Well, the side paneling is on. Roof is on. Nothing's welded down yet. We're going to go ahead and throw in our dash, throw in our lower cowl, throw in our upper cowl, trim it to make sure it fits over these bars, and then we're going to use that to start fitting our fenders and our hood. We got to build some mounts. The dash, lower cowl, upper cowl, all on, clearing our new structural support. So that's cool. We realized we can't build out the front end until we have doors on the car. Now we have some temporary doors. Some of you guys may have seen this coming. I'm stealing the doors off of Oscar's Mustang because they're really good quality. and Oscar's Mustang is a patina Mustang, so I went searching for some doors, and I got some doors with some really good patina on them. We got this baby here. It's a complete door. It's got a lot of character to it, and then there's another complete door over there. But for now, we're going to be using these to test fit onto the car. We got some new hinges for them. Anyways, yes, we're going to get these on the car, side panels on the car, rear bumper on the car. Might even weld some stuff together. Who knows? Let's get it all on. Oh man, this is exciting. This looks so good. All right, so we got doors on. These are just, you know, test fit temporary doors. We didn't even put the strikers in. You can see though that the door clears. I got brand new hinges there. A little hard. The door clears our bulkhead, our body, just the right amount. It's really easy to get in and out of the car. A lot of people were saying to do suicide doors. I think that would be super awesome. The problem is these doors weigh a gajillion pounds, and this is the only material that you'd have to build off of. And this is just sheet 2. So it's kind of too thin. This all up front is built out of so much thicker metal to be able to support the weight of the doors. So that's pretty awesome. Guys, we are dyno tuning the... That wasn't us, that was our neighbor deciding to act up. Anyways, we are dyno tuning the Burnt-A-Con. It's really exciting. It's our dyno got moved into our shop, and we're doing a dyno pulls in our own shop for the first time. It's just so cool. So that is happening. So this thing will be ready to drag race at LS Fest West, which is presented by our friends at eBay Motors. So we will be there April 22nd through the 25th. If you want to come see us, if you want to see this car, if you want to see the Burnt-A-Con, Jump-A-Con, or the single seater, they're all coming. So thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna end this one right here. In the next episode, we're gonna get the front end on. We'll show you how we build front ends on cars out of thin air. How we mount everything up so the body lines get all straight and everything. And in 3 days, we wrap this to go to LS Fest West. So I'm very excited to see how far we'll get. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.